Good Sunday morning and a happy Labor Day weekend. Buckle up for a turbulent fall. Lawmakers will return to Washington this week to a political storm of their own making, with a Biden impeachment inquiry looking more and more likely, and uncertainty about whether the government can keep the lights on after this month. And there are televised pretrial proceedings in Atlanta that are about to begin in the first of 4 criminal trials tied to Donald Trump. All of it adds up to a series of critical tests for our democracy, and it's not clear our political leaders are equipped to meet this moment. Here in Washington, far from laying out a vision for the future of the country, Congress is focused on the bare minimum, just passing a bill to fund the government. Some House conservatives are making it clear they're not going to vote for any short-term spending bills, saying, quote, if a shutdown occurs, then so be it. And most of what we do up here is bad anyway. Most Americans won't even miss it, so some claim. Well, House Speaker Kevin McCarthy is trying to hold off a shutdown, believing it's bad politics for the GOP. And he's arguing it actually would stall any impeachment inquiry that some of those same House conservatives would like to start.
It is a natural step forward that you would have to go to an impeachment inquiry. And I would actually like to have a short-term CR, only to make our argument stronger. Because, Maria, if we shut down, all of government shuts it down, investigation and everything else.
You heard McCarthy correctly. He is trying to leverage the impeachment carrot to persuade some House Republicans to keep the government open. But so far, many of those House conservatives aren't buying the deal.
We are not going to be distracted by a shiny object saying, if you don't get this continuing resolution passed, we won't be able to pursue the impeachment inquiry. That's nonsense.
The White House has stood up a war room of 24 lawyers, by the way, legislative aides and communication staffers, to lead an aggressive response to this expected Republican impeachment inquiry. Historically, it's been Senate Republican leader Mitch McConnell who's been a shield against the sound and fury of House conservatives. It's one reason he is so unpopular with many of those House conservatives. In fact, he held a Wednesday press conference that was supposed to serve as a reality check because he announced that the Senate was going to pass a bipartisan bill to fund the government despite their complaints. But at that same Wednesday event, McConnell appeared to freeze again, this time for about 30 seconds. McConnell's office said he felt lightheaded. It's the same reason they gave for a July episode when he was caught on camera unable to speak for 20 seconds at a press conference. That was after a concussion from a serious fall in March. Now, McConnell's ability to lead is in serious doubt. There are questions, even in his inner circle, about how much longer that the longest-serving party leader in the Senate can serve. Just half an hour after the Capitol physician released a terse letter medically clearing McConnell to work, the usually friendly National Review to Senate Republicans called on McConnell to step aside, and complaints are getting louder.
Right now, the Senate is the most privileged nursing home in the country.
I think it'd be most prudent if he stepped aside.
It's not at all unusual to have the response that sometimes happens to Mitch when you've had a severe concussion. It's part of the recovery. And so I'm confident he's going to be back to his old self.
That's right. President Biden was easily McConnell's loudest defender this week. Of course, the spotlight on McConnell's age and health is not great politically for President Biden. In fact, in a new AP NORC poll, more than 3/4 of Americans, including 69% of Democrats, say Biden is too old to effectively serve a second term. Meanwhile, a majority of the country, 53%, approve of the criminal charges that have been brought against Trump in the 2020 election cases. Just 29% disapprove of those moves. Overall, just 24% believe Biden should run in 2024, and just 30% want to see Trump run. And yet, here we are.
Thanks for watching. Stay updated about breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or follow us on social media.